This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. We know people across the Bay Area rely heavily on public transit. That's why hundreds rallied in San Francisco today, demanding the state keep its promise to come through with a $750 million emergency loan to prevent major service cuts. So the money was promised back in June and is a stopgap measure to provide some breathing room to come up with long-term solutions. As Lauren Toms reports, supporters are celebrating progress, but this isn't a done deal yet.
Well, at this intersection on McAllister and Van Ness, during rush hour, Muni buses can be seen flying through just about every few minutes. But without a critical loan from the state to Bay Area transit agencies in financial crisis, that could slow to just a few each hour. And for BART, it's estimated that their service could slow from running 4,200 trains to just 500. Now, we spoke with one transit rider who tells me she doesn't just hope this loan comes through, but as a taxpayer, she expects it to.
Transit busing now.
The threat of Bay Area public transit systems crumbling brought hundreds out for an emergency rally. These advocates are demanding the state provide a $750 million loan as a lifeline to keep transit agencies afloat as they face devastating cuts.
What do we want? Transit funding. When do we want it? Now.
For riders like Rob and Pam, the stakes are personal. A system that connects San Francisco to the rest of the Bay Area is already shrinking. More cuts, she says, would cripple the city.
If we don't have Muni, if we don't have BART, if we don't have regional transportation in AC Transit and Caltrain, it's going to be a huge failing for the regional economy. We're not going to be able to recover from the pandemic. Downtown is not going to recover in San Francisco if employers can't depend on workers getting to their jobs via transit.
The numbers tell the story. BART is staring down a $375 million deficit. SFMTA, $320 million. AC Transit, $238 million, all bleeding ridership and revenue since the pandemic. A long-term fix in the form of a regional sales tax measure for transit is expected to be on the ballot for 2026. But the governor's promised loan, already written into this year's budget, hit a roadblock last week. Negotiations with the governor's office came to a standstill. With just days left to finalize a deal before the legislature goes on recess, the State Department of Finance told us they only received loan terms 2 days ago. During the Monday rally, State Senator Scott Wiener suggested the loan may not be dead, but rather on life support.
But we need to get from here to early 2027. We need this bridge loan. And I know that we are in a tough, I chair the budget committee. I know firsthand the difficulties that California faces right now in terms of our budget. But we can do this loan.
Mayor Daniel Lurie says the stakes are high for San Francisco. According to SFMTA, more than a third of residents don't own a car and rely on public transportation. Lurie says he's appealed to the governor directly.
We have been in hourly, and I mean hourly, communication with the governor and his office to reach an agreement where everyone wins. The governor has made it clear to me that he understands the importance of this loan.
In a statement, Newsom said he is, quote, working closely with all stakeholders on the parameters of a funding deal, adding our shared goal is to agree on the terms of a deal by this fall. For daily riders, it's not about who's to blame. It's about the survival of public transit for all.
It's a really personal issue as a resident of San Francisco. I love the city. I want to see it succeed. And it really can't succeed without Muni, without BART, and without a functioning public transportation system.
Now, lawmakers have until the end of the day tomorrow to approve language for a bill that would release the funding. Without it, lawmakers say the loan is effectively dead. Now, in Sacramento, they're racing to get all of this approved before Friday, when the legislative year comes to an end.
We're keeping an eye on a developing story in San Mateo County. Major backups on southbound Interstate 280 after a crash that sent a CHP motorcycle officer to the hospital. This happened south of the Alpine Road exit near Portola Valley. The officer was directing traffic because of an electric leaf blower blocking 2 lanes when he was hit by a Tesla that didn't yield to emergency lights. The officer was knocked off his motorcycle and taken to the hospital with major injuries, but he is expected to survive. The driver of the Tesla stayed on scene and is cooperating with investigators. All right, and this is a look at the backup earlier. 3 left lanes on 280 southbound are still closed south of Alpine Road for this investigation, and there's no word yet on when the lanes will reopen. We're learning more about a deadly crash in rural Napa County that killed 6 people. The driver now facing murder charges. The CHP says a minivan collided with a tree on Pope Valley Road just before 6 yesterday evening. 2 people survived and were taken to the hospital, including the driver. The CHP identified him as 53-year-old Norberto Serralino of Stockton. He was arrested on suspicion of murder after officers determined he was under the influence of alcohol at the time of the crash.
The fact that 6 people were killed in this crash is a horrible tragedy, but it's made even worse by the fact that this was caused by an individual who chose to drive while under the influence of alcohol.
The Chronicle is reporting the suspect had 2 prior DUI convictions out of San Joaquin County and was driving with a suspended license. If convicted on a DUI murder charge, the penalty is 15 years to life without the possibility of parole. The coroner's office is still working to identify the victims. A brazen robbery at a Hindu temple in Dublin. Thieves got away with about $34,000 in cash and jewelry yesterday morning from the temple on Village Parkway between Amador Valley Boulevard and Dublin Boulevard. Investigators do not believe the burglary was motivated by religious prejudice. Dublin police are asking anyone with information to contact them. The U.S. Supreme Court will allow the Trump administration to conduct widespread immigration raids in L.A. over the objections of state and local leaders. Lower courts previously said the operations likely violated the Fourth Amendment. The case involved masked and heavily armed ICE agents pulling aside people who identify as Latino, including some U.S. citizens. Lower courts found that ICE likely had not established the required reasonable suspicion to justify the stops, but the Supreme Court disagreed. The 3 liberal justices dissented. LA Mayor Karen Bass spoke out today saying this means more unconstitutional profiling will occur nationwide.
This isn't just an attack on the people of Los Angeles. This is an attack on every person in this city and in every city in our country.
Governor Newsom issued a statement saying every person is now a target, but we will continue fighting these abhorrent attacks on Californians. Well, the race for California's top job is certainly heating up. And today we got a chance to hear from some of the candidates looking to be the next governor in a forum at Sacramento State. Steve Large has more on the key ideas discussed for California's future.
Voters approved a 2008 proposition to build the country's first high-speed rail in California.
CBS California Investigates correspondent Julie Watts kicked off questions about the future of high-speed rail to Republican candidate Leo Zaki.
No, I do not think that we should continue to fund this bullet train to nowhere.
Republicans, Democrats,
and we have to build in the great state of California.
And Green Party candidates.
So the first thing that we need to do is to hold corporations accountable.
All taking center stage at Sac State, delivering their platforms for gubernatorial policy to voters, including students in the crowd concerned with their future.
Will I be able to survive? Will there be housing for me? Will there be job opportunities where I could sustain a healthy way of lifestyle and to support my family members in the future?
So I always think about the future and the main concerns that we are seeing now, such as housing, where am I going to go?
A recent UC Berkeley Institute of Government Studies survey found that when asked what are the issues of greatest concern in this race, 36% said cost of living, 25% said housing affordability, 18% said homelessness, and 18% said the state of our democracy.
I was blown away by the different points of view that were expressed.
For business owner Harris Liu, the forum gave him a better sense of the candidates on the ballot. With more than a year to decide, he's keeping his options open. You make a decision at all?
Not yet. I'm still undecided.
These candidates for California governor building their case for your vote at the ballot box.
7 out of the 11 candidates were in attendance. Each of them were given 8 minutes to answer a single question about then and to talk about their priorities. Redistricting was not discussed today and no talk on the Trump administration. The focus was more on affordability and the economy. All right, still ahead here at 7. A smash and grab robbery caught on camera. It shakes up a South Bay community. The call to action after a jewelry store owner is hurt. Plus, the 49ers secure a late game win against the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to hear from the high school football coach of the hometown player behind the game-winning catch.
It's only early September, but we're already tracking the first, not quite autumn, chance of showers headed towards the coast of the North Bay. It's going to be very light activity, but more showers possible the next couple days. Tracking all of it coming up in the First Alert forecast.
A South Bay community is furious after a jewelry store owner was hurt during a shocking smash and grab robbery, all caught on camera. So surveillance video, it shows the moment a Jeep just rammed into the front of Kim Hung's Jewelry in San Jose on Friday. 3 other cars pull up and about a dozen people get out and they run inside. And then another angle shows the store owner packing up jewelry as it happened. One of the robbers even pushes him down. The owner's niece says he was taken to the hospital where doctors confirmed he had a stroke. Community activists rallied outside of his business yesterday calling for change.
What we're experiencing also is a lack of reporting of crime by business owners, especially small business owners. Why? Because their business insurance may be canceled.
The store owner was released from the hospital and is recovering at home. His family says they expect the damage to cost the business more than $50,000. Ugh. Maddening, isn't it? Okay, on the fire watch now, evacuation orders have been lifted for the TCU Lightning Complex fires in the Sierra foothills, but there's still some areas under evacuation warning. So the fires have burned nearly 22 square miles across 4 counties. More than 100 structures were either damaged or destroyed. The fire is 81% contained. All right, good time to bring in Paul Hagan to talk about our forecast with a mixed bag. Keeps it interesting.
Yeah, so we've got some showers in the forecast the next couple of days, which is a little ahead of schedule here in early September. But then back to summertime and the heat. So let's get into all of it here. We'll start with the storm system that is bringing this early season chance of showers to the Bay Area. This satellite view tracks the amount of moisture in the atmosphere, and that swirl off the coast of Northern California, that's the heart of the storm system that is pushing that chance of showers into the Bay Area. But all of the moisture wrapping around that has been surging to the north into the Bay Area, and that's why there has been a noticeable level of humidity in the atmosphere today. Let's take a look at the specific numbers, and we're measuring the amount of moisture in the atmosphere with a statistic called the dew point. That's something that gets talked about a lot more in other parts of the country. We typically don't have to worry about it because it doesn't get that muggy. But basically anything over 60 is a noticeable level of humidity in the atmosphere. It does feel kind of sticky outside, and the dew point numbers are hovering in the upper 50s and low to mid 60s, and that's the fuel for those showers that are trying to approach the coast of the North Bay right now. You see plenty of cloud cover as we look to the west from Salesforce Tower, and that moisture in the atmosphere is going to keep temperatures from cooling off too much as we head through the rest of tonight. We're going to end up about 5 to 10 degrees above average for wake-up temperatures on Tuesday morning. Right now, we're in the low to mid 70s, so at least the actual temperatures themselves during the daylight hours haven't been overly warm to go along with that noticeable level of mugginess. But let's take a look at, first of all, some labels on the map so you don't lose your place as we put the radar simulation on. This is the current radar view, which does show the showers making their way towards the Marin coast, also a little bit into far northern Sonoma County. This first wave of moisture, a lot of it's going to evaporate on the way down, but at least enough to fiddle with the windshield wipers if you're going to be driving around later on tonight. Let's go from the current radar view to the future radar. And it does show, as we head through tomorrow morning, some bands of hit or miss showers making their way across the Bay Area. This is not going to be a washout at any point over the next couple of days, but be prepared for some of these passing showers. Stash an umbrella in the back seat just to be on the safe side. When it does rain, it's not going to rain very heavily, but at any point over the next 36 to 48 hours, can't completely rule out that possibility of a couple of these splash and dash showers. But in terms of measurable rain, the best chances of that are mainly going to be farther to the north in the North Bay and then especially into Northern California. Some of the more optimistic forecast models are trying to produce maybe a couple hundredths of an inch of rain, maybe a little over a tenth of an inch of rain right along the coast. It's kind of the upper limit of what we'd expect with this kind of system. So it's not going to amount to a whole lot. And if you don't see any rain, well, you're still going to have plenty of clouds, and we're still going to have the low-level cloud cover surging across the bay with plenty of fog and low clouds to begin the day on Tuesday. So it's kind of a real jumble of clouds at the lowest levels of the atmosphere and then farther up as well, helping to produce that layer cake effect to the atmosphere. And the cloud cover throughout the day is going to keep temperatures on the cool side, along with that chance of showers. Mostly in the 70s inland. Only the warmest spots getting into the upper 70s or approaching 80 degrees in the Santa Clara Valley and east of the Oakland Hills. Low to mid 70s around the bay, even near 70 along the coast. So just only about a 10-degree difference from the coast to inland as we head through the day tomorrow. Let's take a look at 7-day forecast, which does include that return to summertime temperatures right at the end of the 7-day forecast. Back up into the low 90s inland by Monday of next week. Quick check of the Bayside forecast. It's a similar story with temperatures running either near or slightly below normal this week, then warming up upper 70s and low 80s Bayside by a week from today. Jules?
Oh, thank you. Someone out there in the East Bay is taking home a 7-figure prize. Well, it's not the massive $1.8 billion Powerball jackpot. Someone who bought a winning ticket in Dublin is $1.5 million richer. So the lucky ticket was sold at the Circle K convenience store on Amador Boulevard. Locals stopped by to see if they have the same luck.
Life story, not a winner. I'd love to win that much money. Next time.
Right? The California Lottery says there was another winning ticket sold in the state. It was purchased at a travel shop in the city of Tehachapi, just 40 miles south of Bakersfield. Meantime, winning tickets for the $1.8 billion jackpot were sold in Texas and Missouri. Woo! Thanks for watching. The news continues at 8 on Pix Plus or 44 Cable 12. See you right back here at 11 o'clock. Have a good one.